So I'm about to leave with a supercharged blazer and a big trailer. Last video was a little bit dark, but there's the air cleaner, the supercharger sitting in there, and the hat. The Pro Pride 3P hitch. The Blazer has a small gas tank. I have to have a bailout can. Okay, tuning the motor required the use of HP tuners, and this is the VCM scanner right here, and I'm recording live data. So here's how the Blazer performs with a 5,700 pound trailer from a stop. Another big mountain climb here.
Okay, so last night I did a log on a pull up this mountain, and unfortunately I lost the log, but I got enough information to know what was going on. First off, I needed to make some adjustments to my tune, because on the 4.3 liter V6 and probably on the 350, you don't want to go less than about 10 degrees of timing on max boost, otherwise you lose all your horsepower. You need more than 10 degrees of timing minimum everywhere. So I went through and I adjusted the high octane, low octane. So I gave it a little bit more timing up in here. So if you look at my compare from the original, what was in the vehicle. So this is what I got right now, what I'm going to program in. This is the original, and here's the difference right there. So the way it works out is you have a high octane table and a low octane table, and if you have knock, you'll have a knock learn factor, which will move it towards low octane timings. And then the other thing I adjusted was the intake air temperature correction. So this table will remove timing out of your main spark advance according to your intake temperature. And so this is what I'm going to program in. This is the original, and here's the difference. That's the difference between the two. And if you see, I don't take out quite as much timing in several of the areas that the factory did. And a lot of that has just to do with the interaction of the supercharger and how that hat puts that air on top of the intake manifold. So with that, in airflow, if you keep the factory cam and you leave the screen on your MAF, then you don't have to do anything with your MAF calibration or your primary VE. Those will be just fine if you don't change your cam or you don't change you don't descreen your mass airflow sensor. So with those two in mind, that those tables can stay the same. The area that I changed to make it run better is under the open and closed loop. Under power enrichment, that's where it is. So you have power enrichment enable. That is the same except for where I enable it on the pedal. So instead of factory is at 90% before your power enrichment will enable, and then it will go into what's called open loop mode. So I went from 90 to 70% because that's about where I have to put more fuel in to prevent knock, while not requiring too little pedal to enable power enrichment so I can get fuel economy. So in this Blazer I'm getting about 20 miles per gallon, 20, 21 miles per gallon, around there on a highway cruise. So I'm going to burn this calibration in. Okay, so I've burned the calibration in. Now I can exit this. I can go into VCM scanner. As you can see, when you first start the Blazer, it has negative timing on it. That's to kickstart the catalytic converter. And after about a minute, it should kick in. Now the O2 sensors are heated, they're running. Sparks coming up. Now the motor is starting to warm up, the RPM and the misfire sensor is starting to heat up and work correctly, and my O2 sensors are sitting there moving up and down. My short-term My long-term fuel trims are good. Everything's coming up. My misfires are sitting at 0 at idle. So everything's good. Now I have to just take it for a drive and record a session. Usually at this point in my tuning that really doesn't do much good for me just to drive around town and try to tune it, or I have to hook up a trailer and tune it, see how it behaves with a lot of stress on it. The way I tune this motor is I started off with street driving, then I did hill climb, driving up canyon, and then I started towing trailers until I got everything pretty close. So that's how I tuned it. I have a wideband O2 sensor that I widebanded this, and if you got the intake really tight and you got your exhaust is tight, not leaking, then you shouldn't need to change any airflow tables. Anyway, that's how I tune this.